might do. But equally, I'm excited about everything else. So
yeah.
Bear with me a moment, folks. This is another carefully packed, but slightly tricky to get out ship.
I'm looking at them now and thinking it's got more of like a... I was going to say like a Stingray kind of, that sort of like presence.
I've been looking forward to this ship.
So,
It's a nice ship.
last of all in our Wave 11 unboxing, we have the Scurrg H-6 Bomber.
Yeah.
And quite a chunky beast of a model for a small base ship.
It is.
Yes, you heard that correctly,
enormous.
people.
Yeah, that's little. FFG thinks this is small.
It's like how they thought the Ghost was not an epic ship.
Which is kind of barely an epic ship. Just barely. And this is just barely a small ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the same sort of wingspan as a K-Wing, which that broke the whole idea of the boundary of small and large.
I'd say out of all the small ships, it has the most mass. But doesn't it just look gorgeous?
It's very nice.
It
is very
Speaking
nice.
as a personal person, I actually love the old Starfighter games. Star Wars Starfighter and Jedi Starfighter. This is where it comes from, so I've been excited and looking forward for this since day one. I've always wondered when they'd finally do it, and it's here.
Particularly since we've had this in Armada for quite a while. I think quite a few fans of the old games have been, like you, Elliot, hanging on, waiting for this to come out.
Yeah.
It'll turn up eventually, and here it is.
As I've said with the other ones again as well, FFG have really upped their game when it comes to the paint jobs on these things. Like, it's beautifully detailed. It's got that kind of like weathered, rugged-looking Star Wars feel about it that they just emphasise even further with Scum ships, and it's really, really nice.
Yeah, no, it's a very pretty ship.
Yeah, it was one of those things I looked at it to start off with. It was like, it's nice. It's even better. It's like one of those. Most of those ships you see though, looks good in the pictures. Looks even better when it's in your hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Robin hinted at, this is the mostly Scum expansion.
Mostly Scum ship.
We'll mark onto that in a minute as to why that is. But there's a lot of upgrade cards as well. Robin's just sort of moved a few
just
around there.
sifting through,
Yeah.
There's a good stack. It's a bunch of stuff.
So, starting off with our pilots again, at Pilot Skill 1, we have got the Karthak Pirate. So this is our baseline generic again, and the Scurrg standard stat line is 3 attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, 5 shields. It can focus, target, lock and barrel roll, and it has a packed upgrade bar. It has got...
Not quite as packed as the K-Wing.
But it's really packed.
It's close.
It will become as packed as the K-Wing in just a moment. But for the generic, it has got a turret, torpedo, missile, crew, and double bomb slot. So, a lot going on there. 24 points. I think even the Pilot Skill 1 generic is looking pretty tasty.
Honestly, low pilot skill bombers for certain types of bomb, for action bombs, mines, work really quite nicely. And having that at Pilot Skill 1 going right at the beginning, you know exactly where your opponent's going to be, so you can drop a cluster mine on their face with no worries. Yeah, that's right there.
However, though, yet again, you mentioned 24 points. You could run 4 of these if you wanted to be brave. With no upgrades at all.
Well, you say no upgrades at all, but there's quite a lot of 1-point crew kicking around in Scum. Like, that's giving you Boba Fett and Forlom and Zuckuss and something else.
Yeah.
Greedo?
Greedo.
Yeah,
there we go. Our quartet of bounty hunters packed into 100 points of ships and 40 shields and hull in total.
Yeah.
Like, even behind only 1 agility, that's really durable. It's all got 3 attack dice. It's quite punchy. That is pretty good, I've got to say.
So. We're still going to be seeing the basic of this thing on occasion. It probably won't be the most common version, but it'll turn up.
I think the biggest limiting factor for it is going to be the fact that it's just reliant on the standard firing arc, and the Pilot Skill 1 will be incredibly easy to arc dodge.
Yeah.
But not if you put them, like, 4 wide.
Oh, no.
Or
like
you box them.
Would be harder to do, but
even so, that's dodgeable.
But once you start putting upgrades on this thing, there's a world of interesting stuff you can do with it. Like, you've got a torpedo slot, so you can slot your extra munitions in there. You've got a missile slot, so you can slot a cheap missile in there. Stick your guidance,
Thread tracers,
guidance chips,
pile of bombs,
because specifically of their combination of upgrades, they can also take long range scanners.
Yes,
because they have everything.
Which means that pilot skill 1 is
of them can take long range scanners.
Long range scanners is not unique.
No, wait. I was thinking the wrong thing. It's not a sensor. It's it's a I think it was a sensor for a second.
No,
that's wrong.
It's a modification.
Yes.
So you can potentially have them take that target lock at the start of turn 1, and then act as this huge threatening block.
And
of
just
ships.
go focus. I'm going to hit something one day.
Yeah. So, pretty decent just for our pilot skill 1 generic. Bumping up to pilot skill 3, we have got the Lock Revenant. Standard stat line, standard action bar, all of the previous upgrade bar, plus an elite pilot talent. And Elliot will just be showing this one to the camera as this was not previewed online, so it's another one of those ones where we're going to have to take a slightly more manual approach. The Scurrg has got a few cards like this, so do bear with us.
This will happen.
At 26 points for 2 extra pilot skill and elite pilot talent.
Worth it, I think.
Completely worth it.
Completely. The EPT gives it access to, again, it might the Deadeye Sync Turret combo.
Deadeye Sync Turret, to be honest, for my mind, Deadeye plus extra munitions plus homing missiles.
Oh, that too. No,
you can fly 3 of those things. Hold on now, so Deadeye for 27, 29, 34. You drop extra munitions off 1, but then you've got 3 of them all with homing missiles. It's a pack of...
You have 5 shots of homing missiles.
Can you imagine these things in Epic as missile carriers?
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, no, they're a pile of Lock Revenants with Deadeye and a bunch of missiles as a part of your Scum Epic list would be a thing.
You're gonna fly to this block. I'm gonna hit you when you get here.
It'll kill some things.
Oh yeah.
They'll just drop down dead. Piles of munitions with Deadeye in Epic. It does work.
Even in standard play, I'm going to say there are definitely some similarities to the contracted scout here. Like the contracted scout could do all that. It's not got the same dial. It's got a much worse dial.
It's got a much worse dial and it hasn't got a turret. Well, it hasn't got a turret, it has standard.
Yeah, but you can still do that Deadeye Alpha Strike potentially into things.
Yeah.
The dial is not fantastic, but it's also not terrible, in my opinion.
No, I mean, you have a white hard turn.
You've got a white hard turn.
Which is which will do.
Unlike a Y-Wing, you can actually shed stress while you're banking.
Yes.
Which is
for free. You don't have to put a
You don't have to put a robot.
R2.
You don't have to put a robot to do it. It's got Talon rolls,
which are pretty solid.
Yeah.
No K-turn though, interestingly.
No,
so any turnaround you're doing
talons.
is going to be displaced.
Yeah. It's it turns around just with the Talon roll. It's the only way it has of flipping around in one turn.
Isn't the only ship that can turn around only by a Talon roll? We've had only by sloops, but
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a first, I think.
Yeah.
So the other interesting thing that's worth noting about it, with the amount of red that's on that dial, Outlaw Tech potentially becomes an interesting addition to the ship, as getting focus tokens when you flip round.
Yeah.
The attack mod for just that, and then green it away.
If you're dead-eyed as well.
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah, sneaking back. Oh.
Yeah.
Dropping behind things.
You'll get the Deadeye every
Still get
time.
your missiles away.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely a thing. Deadeye Outlaw Tech on... How much is Outlaw Tech? Is it 2? 1?
2.
2. Okay. Okay, so you can't put that in the 3 of them thing.
No.
Oh, well, that's
which
fine.
Which is a shame,
It's
but
a little
probably
bit
for the best.
Probably. There's probably a very good reason that the FFG decided to not make that a thing.
So the Lock Revenant definitely going to see use. We've been talking a lot
Certainly.
about Deadeye as well, and there's a whole bunch of EPTs that are useful on there. Predator's going to be decent. Lone Wolf's going to be decent if you're just flying one of them. Even things like Crackshot or Cool Hand are potentially handy as well. an EPT slot's an EPT slot and is one of the best options in the game.
EPT as well is the one most modifiable as well. It's got so many different sort of
things,
ways
options.
you can build around it. Like give it VI, adaptability, make it better to attack with, make it survivable against attacks and defenses.
Yeah.
You know, it's all up to that's where it's most customizable, I think.
Yeah.
So moving on to our next pilot, we've got the first of the named uniques, and we have got Soul Sixer, clocking in at pilot skill 6 and 28 points, also with an elite pilot talent, and she's got the following pilot ability. When dropping a bomb, you may use the 1 hard turn left or 1 hard turn right template instead of the 1 straight template.
Idea. Bombardier. You have 1 straight, 2 straight, and 1 hards.
I wonder. Yeah, sorry. Bombardier is a great option. Part of me is also wondering how much FFG guys were thinking Soul Sixer. So
what pilot skill?
Skill 6 or?
I noticed that. I was wondering who would make the reference.
I can't help but agree with you because by comparison with some of the other ships we've looked at, it's pilot skill 6 rather than 5 for the same. Like it's a 3 pilot skill gain as well, rather than the 2 that we've seen as standard. So
and
is that just
I think that
is entirely FFG having a laugh.
And
it's punning potential.
And another scum bombing specialist at pilot skill 6. Amon Azamine.
Yeah.
Yes, plays quite nicely with him.
And Amon has also the option of doing hard, but it's a 3 hard.
Yeah.
Yes, very similar ability. But
I think it's interesting.
I think it's interesting. It's got some options with bomb placement. Where those are up to.
Cluster mines on a 1 hard. You've got to watch out for that because that could clip you quite big time.
Right,
that yourself.
That gives you some interesting precision placements of munitions.
Yes.
I think that's going to be quite. I'm going to be very interested to see what you can do with this. I think Soul's got some.
I'd be more likely to push this up to a pilot skill 8 and go for some on-reveal bombs.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree as well, because then you can throw stuff into weird places and then zoom off.
Yeah, then extra munitions and then 2 sets of bombs.
It basically means you've got your sort of normally if you have revealed bombs, the space just behind you becomes sort of a no-go zone, but this just makes that so much bigger. Just this area behind the ship is somewhere you don't want to be, and with 3 attack dice, this area directly in front of the ship is somewhere you don't want to be.
Just gently working around the side.
Just come in at the edges. You'll be
Then you could go, well, come at that angle and put an auto blaster on it. You want to come at the sides?
Yeah.
Get into range band 1, have a 2 dice auto blaster turret.
PJ Broughton wonders, is there only one real pilot for the Scurrg? I know only one was previewed, but wondered if there were any more.
I'm afraid there is only the 1 rebel pilot for the Scurrg, so the rebels get a maximum of 1, and that saves us nicely
to where the switch is.
To where the switch is. We clock up to our pilot skill 8 pilot, Captain Nim, who some of you may well be familiar from various computer game based iterations.
Oh yes.
And those of you who are Armada players may also be familiar with him from there. And Captain Nim comes in 2 forms, a scum variant and a rebel variant
with different abilities.
Yeah, they are
Similar, but different.
They are on paper quite similar, but actually do vastly different things in terms of how the ship ends up flying.
One thing I have noticed though, have you noticed the different colours in the ship? One's in orange, one's in red.
You've got a paint job.
I think that's artist's interpretation.
Yeah.
Or is that to symbolise this is the scum one, this is the rebel one?
Oh, I mean, I think they do that quite nicely by having the rebel and scum
granted,
on the
granted, but that makes it...
Whoa, 3 for 3!
Granted, but at the same time, you have the second... if you accidentally bring the wrong one out of your folder, you've got another way of noticing it without having to look at...
Now.
So, I think what we'll do is take a look at the scum one first.
Yes.
Because we've been looking at all the scum pilots so far, and then move across and take a look at his rebel version. I was going to say his rebel counterpart, but it's all the same Captain
It's still
Nim.
him. There's only one. He just
like a lot of
He
good
switches
scum.
allegiances.
Yeah. So Captain Nim is pilot skill 8 in both versions, has an elite pilot talent in both versions, and is 30 points in both versions. So the only differences are the pilot abilities and the faction. So in the Scum iteration, Captain Nim, you may ignore friendly bombs. When a friendly ship is defending, if an attacker measures range through a friendly bomb token, the defender may add 1 evade result.
I'm going to sit back at base and wait for you to come at me, and then I'm just going to sit here and go, I get a free evade. And range, maybe.
More for the ignoring friendly bombs.
Yeah, the adding evade when you're shooting through bombs is interesting, but I don't think it's actually going to end up having that much effect.
I don't think it's his main ability. His main ability is ignoring friendly bombs. Combine that with the title, which I assume we'll get to at some point.
Yeah,
means he can take a unique salvaged astromech.
Genius.
Finally, a use for genius, who is free and lets you drop your bombs after you move.
That's right. Bomb yourself.
Bomb yourself, but you're Captain Nim. You don't care, so you can have this horrendous range of places you can actually drop those bombs.
It's also worth noting that ability is not once per turn. It just keeps working. Yeah. So you can fly through bombs and not have them detonate. Friendly bombs and not have them detonate. You can have people drop bombs on you and not have them detonate. And you can drop bombs on yourself and them not...
And they won't hurt you. You'll be fine.
That's quite strong.
It is. It really is. This is bringing bombs to Scum properly. I mean, up until this point, bombs have been... if you want to use bombs, you take the rebels.
Or the Bomber or Punisher.
You take the rebels because Sabine. Because Sabine.
This is where I was about to go next. I think personally the rebel one is going to be a better one because of the fact of Sabine.
I mean, Sabine's not the only thing.
I'm very convinced by Scum Nim.
Yeah, this pack brings bombs to Scum properly in a way that really they have up until this point been Rebels toy.
Yeah. Speaking of Rebels, however, Rebels get Captain Nim as well.
Yay!
And the Rebel Captain Nim, once per round, you may prevent a friendly bomb from detonating. So that covers quite a few interesting scenarios. You fly through a friendly proximity mine. Doesn't have to go off.
No.
A friend flies through a friendly proximity mine. It doesn't have to go off.
But when the opponent
drop
goes
a seismic charge,
bang!
You drop a seismic charge or a proton bomb behind yourself and decide it's not going to hit anyone this turn. I'd just like to keep it around till next turn.
Sit there and have this nice area of denial. You come here, you stop here. You're going to take a face-up damage card, and I'm going to keep doing that until you do.
It feels like taking something alongside him that's got some ion sort of. So I'm placing this here now because I know you're going to go through it. A couple of notice how I mentioned the word Y-wings with ions and just go, I'm going to put you here. This thing is now going to go off.
Yeah.
Now that I've
cleared my distance, exactly.
Yeah.
And obviously, Captain Nim can pair very nicely with Sabine, so you can drop a bomb, have it go off at the moment you want it to go off, and then Sabine can tick an extra damage into its explosion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's solid. It's
I think of the two, Scum Captain Nim is probably the better, but I think they've both got interesting abilities, and I think Rebel Nim needed to have a slightly less good ability just because he gets paired with Sabine immediately, and Sabine is one of the top tier upgrades in the entire game.
What I was going to say though, when I was thinking about this, I'd say having Captain Nim with bombs, but don't put Sabine on it. Go with Donny Sabine. Because you then have I can ignore bombs, I can deal damage to you. Now, which one are you going for? Rather than putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, distribute your target priorities around.
Which is another crucial X-Wing thing.
A nice segue because Chris Neal asked, "Can the Rebel ship take the title?"
Yes. Speaking of which, that means that we can neatly move on to the Havoc title, which is a Scurrg H-6 Bomber only title.
Unique.
It's unique, but not Rebel or not Scum only, not Rebel only. It is available to anyone who can take a Scurrg. At 0 points, your upgrade bar gains the system and salvaged astromech upgrade icons and loses the crew upgrade icon. You cannot equip non-unique salvaged astromech icons. upgrade cards.
Yeah. So the salvage astromechs come to the Rebels for the first time.
No, not salvage astromech. You can't.
No, the salvage astromech
Oh.
type of upgrade.
Yeah.
Admittedly, a limited number because I think there's 3 non-unique ones.
Unique.
There's three unique ones rather at the moment.
Yeah.
But they're there. The Rebels have got access to them.
I'd like to take the damage bot. So take Dengar's bot.
Oh, R5P8.
Mm.
Yeah. This is a very nice bit of design because you have to make some hard choices about this upgrade.
Do you want crew or do you want a robot and a sensor?
Yeah. And they're both good choices.
Yeah.
But it does quite heavily limit you in some of the things you can do.
Yeah.
And I think putting that system slot on the title rather than putting it on the upgrade bar by default is a very smart move as well, because it means that you can't just spam them with fire control system or anything like that.
That's true. Only one of them can have an
And
FCS.
also, it's
Very
a
much
good
the
thing
right
they
call.
said
Yes.
non-uniques.
Because
Because
otherwise-
that dial, if you remember, had a Talon roll on it.
At 3.
At speed 3.
This
Unhinged
is,
Astromech would then make that green, which would be ferociously deadly.
I can see no problems with this whatsoever.
Oh, come on! Can I catch a break in here tonight? Clearly, I was like, question is no.
No,
But-
we
No,
don't
seriously.
we don't want effectively a scum Countess Ryad.
No.
That
Yeah,
would,
just go,
that would be terrifying.
No. I think that is clearly the reason it
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
uniques only. Because green Talon rolls
would
would
just
be
be stupid.
horrendous.
But yet again, it would only be on one of them.
It'd still be horrendous.
Yeah, granted.
It's
At pilot skill, you could get those on pilot skill 10.
Yeah.
No.
but as a bit of design, it makes you make some hard choices. It gives FFG a bit more control over the design space around the ship as well,
Yeah.
because they can release non-unique salvage astromechs to their heart's content and know that they cannot be equipped to the ship.
Yeah, they can do that without breaking the Scurrg, which is clever.
Yeah. Bravo.
Yeah.
Like, two thumbs up.
Yeah, very nicely written card.
And at 0 points, you've got some really interesting...
It makes it the fun. It makes it very much the option of like take or not.
Yeah.
If it was also going to cost you something, that would, I think, shift the decision making sort of priorities
Yeah.
a bit. The fact that it's free makes it the choice of which of these 2 ways of building the ship do you want.
I still love the idea of Dengar's revenge bot going, well, you're going to try and hit me, I might hit you back.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it a less appealing target, and on a 1 agility ship, that's no bad thing. Just quickly before we move on to the rest of the new stuff, we also get a copy of Lightning Reflexes, which is not a card I've particularly seen have a huge amount of play, but it's a handy
good,
way of giving yourself some extra turnaround options when you don't necessarily have them. It gets you a copy of Seismic Torpedo, which I think has previously only come in the ARC 170.
Yep.
Yes.
And you get a copy of Synced Turret, which, whilst new to this wave, is not the first time we've seen this card this evening. So the Havoc gets a nice turret to go for its turret slot while we're going through all of this.
Which would, if equipped to it, gets full rerolls.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice.
So next up, we have got Minefield Mapper, the 1 system upgrade from this pack. Minefield Mapper is a 0 point system upgrade. During setup, after the Place Forces step, you may discard any number of your equipped bomb upgrade cards. Place all the corresponding bomb tokens in the play area beyond range 3 of enemy ships.
Now, this is where I've had a lot of thoughts and worries. So what happens if you were to take, say, for example, cluster mines, and also extra munitions at the same time? Does that mean
This
you
argument-
place 1, or do you place 2?
This argument has been going around for quite since the card was announced, and it's unclear. I think in the wording.
I am 100% certain from the wording about how this is meant to work. He said arrogantly. I think the key factor in all of this is it runs into that fundamental rule of X-Wing of you can only trigger something once per opportunity.
That is that is the argument I found the most convincing. I think you can't trigger it with
And I think
with extra munitions.
that's actually probably for the best. I think this card has got some very interesting potential.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of turn 0 gameplay.
Yeah.
So in addition to your asteroid placement, you can throw some other obstacle placement in there as well if you want to.
You can.
But you get to unload a set of munitions off your ship, not 2 sets.
Yeah.
So
put that on, say, the Rebel Nim with a anything. But say a proton bomb.
And you block where distinguishable path they want to come.
Yeah, because on the Rebel one, so it can just sit there. They can't just slow roll, let it blow up and do nothing and then come in. You can just put it there and say, you're not coming this way.
Yeah, you cannot go.
Or if you do, I'm going to let it blow up anyway.
Well, you're not coming this way. You've got to come round the way I want you to come round.
You shall not pass.
Yeah.
The Gandalf card.
And just dictate the approach really quite nicely.
I think it shifts some of the emphasis of gameplay a little bit as well. I think this is me I'm going to slightly misuse these terms, but I think X-Wing by and large is a tactical game where you are making rapid turn-on-turn decisions based on the situation as it evolves. This is a strategic upgrade where you are setting out a theatre of battle according to the way that you want it to run, and you are shutting down options for your opponent. You are setting how the game as a whole is potentially going to play out.
Yeah.
Just a very quick aside point. I played a game against Toby about 3 or 4 weeks back now, and he did that, and he cut off routes with clusters, and it's just like, well, now where am I meant to go?
You go where he wants you to go.
Exactly, and you sort of get pushed into a channel that necessarily you don't want to fight on your terms, but now those terms have been taken away from you. You play on your opponent's terms.
I think Minefield Mapper is potentially a very strong card in the hands of a clever player.
Yeah.
Who builds their approach around it. It's definitely going to be one of these high skill floor but high skill ceiling cards. Like it's not a simple thing to be able to use properly, I think.
I very much agree, and I think that also, thank you Max, very nicely moves us on to the next card, cruise missiles.
You get 2 copies of in this box.
Indeed, yes. So those of you who like packing missiles onto things, we've got you covered.
It's a bit blurry, just so people are aware.
So the reason it's a bit blurry, this is another card that wasn't in the preview articles. Elliot has worked his magic and somehow sourced an image for us off the internet.
Thank you, X-Wing Wiki.
In fact, yes, thank you, X-Wing Wiki. You are a part of my daily life. So, cruise missiles is a 1-attack missile, range 2 to 3, clocking in at 3 points. So, up until this point, sounds terrible.
Never take them, may as well burn the card.
But then we actually get to the text on the card.
Yeah.
It's an attack target lock. Discard this card to perform this attack. Note it does not say discard the target lock in the process. You may roll additional attack dice equal to the speed of the manoeuvre you executed this round to a maximum of 4 additional dice. And note that's 4 additional dice, taking you, as David is indicating, to a maximum of 5 dice off this attack.
Or, if going through an asteroid or debris in some way, shape or form with the
Trick
shot,
you can get to 6.
Janors
can put you up to a 7 attack dice if...
now you're starting to get ridiculous.
Hey, we had a 7 dice ghost. We had a stupidly high other one when Robin was playing or some other stuff. But
I was about to say put this on Miranda, but she can't get up to speed 4, so...
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Cruise missiles are... It's very strong. It's a homing missile for 3 points.
Yeah.
As long as you go a minimum of speed 3.
Yes.
And obviously it doesn't have the evade shutdown.
But potentially more dice.
More dice.
Potentially 5 dice. The thing this is really what the thing this is probably the closest to is the pockets.
Yeah.
That were the A-Wing's best friend.
Yeah.
But I think the A-Wings might like these a bit more now.
I think personally though, because it says attack target lock and you don't have to spend your target lock, I'm thinking back to long range scanner bombers.
Yeah.
Because they then get the target lock really early on.
Yeah.
They get the focus and guidance chips.
Yeah.
Virtually guarantee the big punch.
Yeah. Just swing in.
Well, they can't get long range scanners and guidance chips.
Of course,
because
modifications.
They're both modifications.
Yeah.
But even
One
so,
or, yeah, having both of them would be ridiculous, so ignore that fact.
long range scanners gives you your target lock and allows you to take your focus, and at that point you're double modding for better than guidance chips.
Yeah. For the cruise missiles, I think that's absolutely the right call.
So long range scanners, you think?
Long range scanners.
Long range scanners is good if you can't deadeye them.
Yeah, if you can deadeye them,
then they become a completely different beast.
yes.
And with all of this said, though, they do have a range 1 dead zone.
Yeah, they do.
And that range 1 dead zone is going to be easier for your opponent to exploit because they know that you're going to want to go minimum of speed 3.
To make them work.
However, what you could do to counteract that is go, okay, let's say use the bombers again, because it can take 2 sets of missiles.
It can.
So you take clusters.
Yeah.
So you have the range bound one covered as well. Or
So
you
can,
go...
Stack some options in there.
So you kind of go,
yeah.
well, now where do you want to be? Yeah, again, the answer is you've got 6 attack dice potentially coming with the clusters.
Yeah.
Or potentially 5...
With the cruise missiles,
exactly.
Which have better modification.
So which one do you want to face? And that gives your opponent a very, very interesting prospect of where they want to boost and barrel roll to.
Yeah. I think... I mean, I personally wouldn't go the cluster missiles option myself just because that's a lot of points to be invested in.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that is an option to cover.
Where I think cruise missiles are going to be particularly interesting is on primary attack 3 and higher ships. Because if your opponent stays out of range 1, they take the
5 attack dice.
The 4 or 5 attack dice because you've obviously executed a suitable speed maneuver.
Yeah.
If they come into range 1,
they're taking the 4 dice primary.
Yeah.
So you don't have a good choice.
Consistent, strong attacks.
So, yeah, again, good for the Scurrg.
The Scurrg will like these things, yeah, definitely.
Well,
ironic, even it's nice for the Falcon.
It's good on a wide range of different ships. The place, I mean, this is going to be a huge thing. I don't think it's going to be quite as automatically easy to use as people have been saying. I've seen a lot of talk about this on the forums where people have just been like, oh, this is like Red Dice Creep, this is the death of X-Wing, all that sort of stuff. These are not going to be simple and straightforward to use because you need to go so fast and because they are limited to your primary arc.
If you want the full power out of them, you need to go speed 4 or 5. And if you're going to go speed 4 or 5, you're going in a straight line.
Yeah.
Which means you're not... there's potential for someone to be able to get out of your target zone or even to get in
the range 1. It's their...
But then if you have all the modifications...
They're powerful, but they require predictable movement.
But if in some way, shape or form you have all the modifications, like you had a focus pass to you, for example, and then you barrel rolled, you then have that lateral movement as well, and that could make a difference.
Yeah, no, there's some really interesting stuff that you can potentially do with these. I think the most exciting place for them as a Scum player is not the Scurrg. I mean, the Scurrg's going to enjoy them, but once the Vasky title comes out for the Kirax, you can take 4 Kiraxes with munitions failsafe, with guidance chips, and with Deadeye. And
you get
just
everything.
Fly a pack of 4 of them at things.
And no, that is the Pilot Skill 5 generic, by the way.
That's potentially...
I saw Wojtek actually bring that to the table against Richard's double fire sprays. And, yeah, it nearly happened where he lost 1 Vaxi for a fire spray.
Yeah.
So what you've just done potentially there is you've doubled the outlay.
Yeah.
25-point profit, yes please.
Yeah, just said here, Persia Brown. Like I said, the Kirax munitions fail-safe and guidance chips.
Yeah.
All good Scum fighters.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's very powerful.
It's powerful, but I do not think it is clear-cut as people are making it out to be. I do not think this is just a completely simple-to-use card because people are going to be able to get out of that zone of fire if you're flying in those predictable patterns.
Yes, and to make the best use out of it, you do need to fly predictably, and that's a horrendous weakness. Yeah. Because the phase where the game is actually played is the manoeuvring phase, realistically speaking. The combat phase is the see what's results, see who's managed to manoeuvre better.
The average thing you probably get off is probably 4 dice if you do speed 3.
Yeah. At which point it's a
cheap homing missile that doesn't suppress evade tokens.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem as bad.
Now, if you can...
For 2 points cheaper.
If you can get that 5 attack dice...
Lovely.
Then you clearly deserve to get that 5 attack dice.
Because you've managed to do a 4 or 5 straight manoeuvre and still kept out of that range. That range 1.
Keep arc,
Well done.
keep on target, not bump.
Keeping the range. It's
Yeah,
that's not easy.
Thought process.
Yeah.
Flipping back a little bit to the TIE aggressor. The pilot skill 8 or 7 from
7.
there.
Kestel.
Yeah.
Fire Kessel with one of those.
Yeah.
Spend the focus because you've gone Deadeye instead. Spend your focus and go, well, now you've got to find natural evade against it.
Yeah. No, I think strong upgrade, definitely going to get a lot of use. Probably going to be the card of the wave, in my opinion. This is going to see more play than anything else.
Probably. The A-Wings will like it.
Yeah, like A-Wings. A-Wings are going to find this a thrilling thing.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think a pack of 4 A-Wings, 2 with rockets, 2 with cruise missiles, creates some very, very difficult decision making for your opponent.
No, that really does. Like, where are you
do
going?
you want to
Run
be
the
in range
rockets in
1 and
front,
take the rockets? Do you want to not be at range 1 and take the cruise missiles?
Yeah.
It's one or the other. You've got choices here. They're
They're-
not
Neither of
good.
them are good.
They're all bad.
They're bad.
Everything is terrible. So, I'm aware time's getting on a bit, so we'll move on. Cad Bane.
Yep.
Cad Bane is a Scum-only unique crew. Those of you who've watched the Clone Wars animated series will be familiar with him from that. He and his mighty hat. He is a 2-point Scum crew member and has some text that those of you who are familiar with Sabine will feel seems somewhat familiar. Your upgrade bar gains the bomb upgrade icon. Once per round, when an enemy ship rolls attack dice due to a friendly bomb detonating, you may choose any number of focus and blank results. It must re-roll those results. So it's a little more limited than Sabine, but it does potentially give you some quite strong bomb outputs. Like Cad Bane can turn a proximity mine from 3 unmodified dice to 3 re-rolled dice.
3 modded dice. This is, as I was saying earlier, it's this especially that's bringing bombs to Scum properly, because what's previously been making bombs the Rebels thing is Sabine, and this brings a Sabine-like card to Scum, meaning that they can actually get decent use out of bombs, which at this point in time the Empire can't. As such.
I'm also going to say I think Cad Bane is a very clear indication that we are going to see a minor tweak to Sabine at some point in the near future, because you have got what is a similar but obviously weaker effect at the same points cost. So I think we're going to see some minor tweak to Sabine to just tone her down just a tiny sliver of a bit and bring her in line with Cad Bane.
However, on the same vein, Sabine only deals 1. If Cad Bane rocks up, and more often than not, changes 1 damage to 3 damage.
He won't do that more often than
It's
not.
the guarantee.
And what I'm meaning is, if he starts doing that
Sabine
quite a lot of the time, you're like, well, he's obviously now more
Thing
he's
is-
better than Sabine.
Okay, so with Cad Bane, assuming a proximity mine, you've got 3 dice.
Yep.
Generally speaking, on your first roll, you'll get 1, maybe 2. Cad Bane can turn that in. If you get 1, Cad Bane re-rolls will likely get you 1 more.
So you're pushing up to 2.
Pushing up to 2. Generally speaking, he will possibly add 1 result. Maybe 2.
He has an interesting spike potential.
He has a
on
spike
things,
potential,
which
but
Sabine doesn't. But
but-
Sabine has.
But Sabine
consistency.
has Sabine has the guarantee extra hit,
Yeah.
which is that, and that consistency makes it objectively better than Cad Bane. In a lot of ways, Cad Bane does have a better spike, but the consistency of Sabine
I
is
would so like to
incredibly
give
important.
I'd so like to give as I mentioned earlier, the 2 bombing experts for Scum, run them alongside each other, then go Cad Bane and just give that a bit of a go for a while.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Cad Bane is strong, and we're going to see a lot of play from him.
I think so. I think as I said, that's going to bring bombs to Scum, and we're going to see Scum bombing lists with Cad Bane in them.
Also, for important reasons that will become evident in just a moment, potentially puts a second bomb slot on a fire spray without having to take the Adastra title.
Yeah.
And it puts a second bomb slot on the quad jumper.
It does.
Yeah.
So, at which point it will become very relevant why that second bomb slot might be a desirable thing as we move on to the bomblet generator. the last of our double upgrades for our Wave 11 theme. A 3-point double bomb. When you reveal a maneuver, you may drop 1 bomblet token. This token detonates at the end of the activation phase. Note, you do not have to discard it. The bomblet generator keeps going.
It is unique. And the bomblets...
Yes, good point.
It's unique, that's important. The bomblets are essentially like cluster mines. You roll 2 attack dice for everything in range 1, individually, in turn. And then they take the damage rolled.
But, interestingly, cluster mines, you just take damage.
Yeah.
From the bomblet, you take both damage and critical damage.
Yes.
And obviously, cluster mines, since the FAQ, you get a damage result from both damage and critical damage results, but it's only ever damage. This can deal out crits.
Yeah.
So
it's nice.
It's not bad at all.
It's very nice.
And alongside Genius.
It's like a slightly swingier seismic charge you can drop every turn.
Yeah.
Which, for 3 points, I'll take.
Having those bombs forever. The thing about essentially these activation phase bombs, what they mostly do is put a little bubble around the back of the ship that they're on of you don't want to be here.
I think actually.
But that goes away as soon as you've spent them. But with this, that little bubble is just going to be there until the ship's dead.
Yeah.
However, on the other hand, I think with the Rebel version going, I'm going to drop one here, save it, place another.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nasty.
I've got 2. Now, which one am I going to keep for next turn?
Or don't keep up both of them and just blow them both up if there's someone between.
Exactly.
The two. Like
You could potentially have somebody sitting between both, rolling 4 dice and taking exactly what they roll.
Yeah, you can you can just string them a little bit.
If only you could have a space tractor array in a rebel list with that. Pull them into the middle.
Reasons I am glad the quad jumper is not a rebel ship, number 1.
You could do a tractor beam and ion.
No, because it explodes in the activation.
No. You keep it stuck there for. What I'm thinking is for using the Rebel version.
Rebel Nim,
Tractor with a B wing. Hit it with a Y wing. Yeah. You know how slow it's going.
That's true.
And you control its speed, and then that might work.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I think
but it's like a 40-50 points of if.
Yeah, it's a lot. You can't guarantee anything.
Exactly.
I think bomblet generator's very strong. I'm glad it's unique because I don't think this should be something that can be spread freely throughout a list.
No, absolutely not.
It's quite limited on the number of ships you can put it on. So you can put it on the Scurrg, you can put it on the K-Wing, you can put it on the Punisher, and you can put it on the K-Wing, and I think that's it.
Well, the fire spray and
the fire spray and the quad jumper if you throw Cad Bane on there, or if you put the Ad Astra title, there are not any single bomb slot rebel ships that have a crew slot. So Sabine can't upgrade anything into being
That's where my mind was just thinking. Can I do the same thing? But
no. Yeah, you're right. I don't think there are any.
And I think it's going to be much more useful on some ships than others. Like I think this could be a transformative upgrade for the Punisher in some ways because it gives it consistent munitions turn after turn after turn.
Yeah.
And you can put it on a generic Punisher. Put that on a Cutlass Squadron for 24, 26 with lightweight frame, and just have something that's trolling around, quietly dropping bombs, while people are having to deal with everything else that's in your list.
And because you're having to deal with everything else in the list, you might accidentally stray on one.
Yeah. And then last of all, we have got R4E1. Another, adding to our small cohort of unique salvaged astromechs. R4E1 is clocking in at 1 point, and you can perform actions on your torpedo and bomb upgrade cards even if you are stressed. After you perform an action this way, you may discard this card to remove 1 stress from your ship. For 1 point, that seems very reasonable. It applies to seismic torpedoes, colonnettes, cluster mines, and proximity mines.
And also note it is a May.
Yeah.
So it's one of those that you could just keep lurking around and just go, I'll throw out the way on the last one.
Specifically, it means you can Talon roll a Scurrg and then drop some cluster mines into someone's face. And watch as they're like, how did you do that? What just happened?
Huh.
Why am I
We've
exploding?
got some good maths going on here from Wojtek. Assuming you use cluster mostly, or maybe bomblets now, CAD is on average an extra 0.5 damage per turn, only working on a cluster and proximity and bomblet. So on less than 50% of bombs in the game, Sabine gives you +1 damage on every single bomb in the game. CAD versus Sabine wins every time.
Yeah.
Hands down, she is totally going to get nerfed. So yes, David, there's the breakdown on Sabine.
And thank you, Wojtek, for doing that, because I didn't want to do that kind of maths. No, and also what could be quite interesting is the first thing that came to...
Wojtek just says, a jump master can now drop bombs after a 4K. My nightmare is still continuing.
I know, you see, a lot of people have been worrying about the bombing jump master, but I don't think it's a great way of spending points. It's potentially interesting. You can do some interesting stuff. There are things like the ability to do a white sleep and then drop some cluster mines out behind it. But you're paying a lot for your bombing chassis at that point, because you're looking 25 points base. You're probably throwing Cad Bane on there for 27. You're throwing some cluster mines on there to take you up to 31. And at that point, you've got to start asking yourself questions about why am I not doing this on a different ship?
Yeah, or why would I not use torpedoes? Why would I switch the torpedo boat to a bombing boat?
I think it might be quite fun to try, and I think it's got some interesting stuff, but I don't think it's meta.
So, what do you guys think overall?
I'm thrilled about this wave.
Yeah, there's some very nice things in here. I don't think there's a. I think all of the ships have some interesting things and some good uses.
I think the Scurrg is probably the strongest ship.
Probably.
Just looking at it from a raw numbers point of view. But I think the other ships have potentially got more surprises built into them. I think Kestel is going to do some bizarre and interesting things with her ability that are going to catch people off guard. And I think no one has really explored the potential of the Wookiee Wonder Wagon.
Wookiee Wonder Wagon, yeah. No, there's going to be some people are going to find some interesting combinations of Rebel crew that you can shove in here. Like you could have
Sorry, folks.
say Bay's tactician to stress two things. Or any number of things.
Again, very quickly before we start preparing for our game for the evening, and allow viewers once more to do their voting. The last few minutes votes time to get some votes in. There's the link at the bottom of the page. So we've looked over Wave 11.
Yeah.
What would you like to see, either card or ship-wise, for Wave 12?
No ifs, no buts. I want to see the N1 Naboo Starfighter, and I want to see Princess Leia in it.
Mostly for a 3 attack, 3 agility thing for the rebels, which they are missing.
Yes,
I want Princess Leia.
They do have that. It's called an E-wing, but it's not particularly very good. So
okay, fine. They want a cheap one then.
Yes.
Max is giving the sensible reasons. I want Princess Leia in a spaceship that I can fly.
I mean that too. That's also a very good reason. I have no arguments against that. Currently, she's only vaguely useful in Epic, and this seems wrong to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you do only see her really hitting the battlefield in your space field when she's on the Rebel transport in episode or start of episode 4.
Unless you have a look at the comics, where she has a fantastic defensive Naboo alongside. Is it Shara Bay and the Queen of Naboo?
Yeah.
So you've got your 3 pilots there, and then you have a Naboo Royal Guard pilot, and there's your expansion pack FFG.
There we go.
My commission is very reasonable.
I mean, you have to write the rules for it, but there's your names.
Give me an hour.
I appreciate that. I think that's a good idea. We've just recently got Leia arrive as a commander in Armada, so there is talk of...
She's very good there as well.
And I mean, the other option if you want Leia around is have a resistance Leia. General Organa comes along.
Ironically, somebody just beat me to the other half of what I was going to say. Not necessarily the Starfighter for Obi-Wan. I want to see his astromech. Oh. I would love to see R4.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you've got Luke with R2. You know, Obi-Wan's own personal... You've seen a lot of own personal droids have come out. You know, why not R4?
Discard any any two cards of your choice that you something. I don't know, but yeah.
But for a personal point of view, I would love to have that there. I've been calling it for a while.
Personally, I want to see something interesting. I want to see a title for the TIE Fighter. Just something interesting.
For the Imperial TIE.
Yeah, for the Imperial
TIE Fighter.
It's one of the few that doesn't have a title, and of course,
the uncaptured TIE.
Of course, I want to see an X-wing fix. Of course, I do. But I also think the TIE Fighter could use a little something, and I think a
little
title
push.
It'd be nice to have a title. Give it options.
Definitely.
I do think I wouldn't be surprised at all if we ended up seeing, maybe not Wave 12, but maybe sort of like the next 2 ships box thing. A something for the Rebels finale.
Yes, I agree.
With some combination of A, X, Y, 2 of those.
I would
most
pay
likely
good money. I would pay good money for that.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We're now stopping voting, and as I go over, we can see that it is quite clearly there is a 1-point lead.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? Following what I was saying earlier about if there's a tie, no offence, Robin, that would have been my choice.
No, it's reasonable. It showcases more of the wave, and my Kestel is very
as well.
Like my Kestel is very much about emphasising what Lone Wolf can do on her, but it doesn't pick up sync turret. So I think in terms of wave showcase, Max has put together a better one there,
and also it uses Darth Vader. You don't normally see Vader.
This does mean that the top 2 lists are
both yours. Hey, that's not the first time that's happened.
Enjoy playing the game against yourself, Max.
No,
this will be an intriguing
that's
experience.
not the first time that's happened, Robin.
Yeah.
Our first unboxing as a 3 was me and you, and I had to use your Rebel list.
Yeah, true.
So it's not the first time it's happened, but it'd be interesting to see how somebody else deals with the knowing potential weaknesses of a list before you play it.
I am very happy to take the Imperial list if that works for you.
All right. In that case, I'll take the Scum side.
Can you guys get ready within 10 minutes?
We can try. We can try.
The stage is already set up. Just turn the lights on, ready to go.
Oh, in that case, we probably can.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm going to go and find our third commentator. That's where I quickly switch over in the booth here, and I'm going to leave in the capable hands of David while we do that.
That feels like a daunting task, but one that I'm not unfamiliar with.
I'm sure you'll rise to the challenge.
Oh, challenge accepted. Definitely for me, this is a very much a wave of new possibilities and a wave of taking things in a different direction, I think. So as a wave, I think I love this. From a personal view, for me, I've sort of made an opening statement of I'm not going to be buying in much into this wave until we see how things settle down, and that's not because I don't feel brave enough. It's more the fact of I like to sort of think outside the box a bit more, and when things are settled down, I can sort of understand how things are working, and then maybe think of, has somebody thought of this idea or that idea? And I think that's the way I'm going to look at this wave. As we were sort of saying as the unboxing was happening, each ship in here has its own strengths, its own weaknesses. Each one is good for one reason, and it's weaker for another. For me, still, even though it's not necessarily got everything going for it, I do love the Azituk or the Wookiee gunship. For a personal point of view, I still have the image of when you sort of first see them in episode 4 or 5. Can't remember which one. No, Clone Wars. Clone Wars. Bear with me. I'm being slightly dim. When they're sort of taking Yoda, that's a nice image to work with. The TIE Aggressor is nice because it looks like a TIE Advanced. And just that little streamline. Like I said earlier, actually, the article when that was posted with the lightning bolts around the outside of it, that was a menacing looking image. The Scurrg Bomber, sideways. We didn't get onto the actual showing of how big one of these is. Max did the honour for me. he put up a fire spray and he asked the question, which is a big ship. Every time he said I was saying the wrong answer, but comparison-wise, the fire spray for a large ship is quite small, while on the other hand, the Scurrg is a large ship for a small base. And that is one of those frightening little things. For me, what would I do in terms of purchases? I definitely want 2 Scurrgs. Yes, I know it means I'll only be paying one 50% of the time when I'm playing Rebel, but having 2 of them for Scum, more ways of guessing the sync turret, which as I said before, Y-wings with sync turrets for me is going to be a thing. As long as they've got ways of making sure they can guarantee those target locks. So there was a build I came up with earlier on today, which heralds back to my Wave 9 idea, which is with Shara Bay, Dutch Vander, and a Siege to get some real nice punchy attack mods. And I'm going to love giving that a shot. But yeah, I think each ship in this wave is a really good one. I can't write a ship off from the get-go.
No, I'm very happy with the wave in general as well. I mean, I think people, again, as I agree with the group, I think people are discounting the gunship. I'm not saying it's going to be amazing, but it's definitely going to... I mean, my theory about what's going on with X-Wing as a community thing so far is that I think a lot of people are looking at it and saying, there's not really much here, when in actual fact what they mean is there's nothing really overpowering here, that doesn't interest me. Because generally, I mean, everyone's always looking for the new hotness in the releases, yet it should be about giving you options, not necessarily about giving you the new hotness.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to, yet again, I know this is a slightly different way of looking at it. When the 2400 came out originally, really your go-to pilot was Dash Rendar.
Mm-hmm.
He saw a lot of placing, but he only really became properly strong when you could put Kanan Jarrus on there to do my push the limit and I can go anywhere I like. All that maneuverability and clearing the stress is just huge.
And we're being joined by our special guest commentator for the evening.
And also bringing his little Wookiee gunship as well.
Bringing my stuff as well.
Is that
friends?
Is that saying which way your siding is gone in this wave, or no?
No.
You've got the whole lot.
I've got 2 ships. I bought 2 for multitude of reasons. I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah, please do. Please do before you start causing problems for me.
Yes, this will turn off. This will turn off.
So yeah, we were just actually getting on to the point here, actually, Chris. So you can join us in on this one.
Oh dear.
Out of the wave. Do you have a dead set favourite in terms of this is my favourite, or are you going to say
Scurrg.
a wave of the whole?
Scurrg.
Now, is it just because it's scum, or just...
No.
Okay, good.
No. Good question. No.
Good. What a bit more?
I'm
Give
slowly.
us more spirit.
It's his fault. Scurrg. There are many multitudes of reasons of this. Multitudes of reasons for this. It arguably for me has the nicest ship.
I think it's actually a gorgeous design,
it's one of the nicest ships I know. It's actually behind me. I will get it out in a minute. Even though you've probably already seen it. I meant actually out of the box one.
Yeah. But there's a lot of nice stuff about each of them.
There's also, don't get me wrong, everything has its own perk. The reason for me in terms of the Scurrg, though, is because it is a beautiful ship. The ship is absolutely gorgeous. I will get it now because...
Reasons,
and because...
As you can see,
look at this.
The players are about to start setting up.
They're about to start setting up. I will be very quick with this.
Well, no, it's just they are setting up right now.
That's fine. So there you go. Look how gorgeous that ship
is. It's absolutely... I've always loved... beautiful ship. I've loved the design of the Havoc, and the Havoc is actually one of the legend ships that I know perhaps the most about, because it is...
From a game series you absolutely adore.
It's from a game series I adore, yes. Flown by Captain Nim. It's an experimental vessel, actually.
Yeah. Which
explains why the Havoc itself has unique... a systems upgrade slot and can salvage astromech slot, arguably, as well. I love the design.
I love the design of the ship.
It still fits with that very Star Wars. It's a simple kind of shape, but it's very complex in its design. What do you think, David?
It's got definitely a nice lot of different versatility on it. It's, I don't know which way I'd fly it more at the moment. I don't know whether I'd fly it as crew or with salvage astromechs.
That's the next point I was about to bring up about the ship. It's a very versatile fighter.
It's a toolbox vessel.
It's a toolbox vessel, which I'll go get myself a card here. You've probably already discussed all this, so I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go through all of this again because for your sanity, you don't want to hear all
We'll
of
be here
them.
till midnight going through it again.
But you can basically make it as a bomber. You can make it as a munitions vessel. You can make it as a shuttle vessel and have a support kind of style to
Turret carrier.
A turret carrier because it's got enough. It's kind of like the rebel versions of a Miranda the K-wing. Thank you.
I was about to say.
Thank you, brain. That kind of same thing where it's so versatile in what it can do. It's and that's another reason why I love the ship as well, because it's so versatile. It's just, you can do anything with it. It's really cool. The third reason I like it is out of the three, and please correct me if you feel like I'm going to make an outright statement on this, I feel like it's the most balanced. Out of all three of them.
How do you mean? Define what you mean by
It's
balance.
weird. So there was me and you've had a discussion on the aggressor before.
Indeed,
haven't we?
We've discussed the worries of TLT.
The worries of TLT lightweight frame aggressors, which is what worries me as well. Which is why I always feel like the aggressor may be a problem. And I feel like the Wookiee vessel, the wacky wooden warrior,
The three Ws.
is a bit underwhelming.
Currently, we've had a discussion. We all think that everyone is undermining and not counting the Aztec when really you shouldn't really set aside. It's got some good stuff going for it.
There's got some good stuff going for it.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's probably one of the most tankiest ships in the game.
I feel like obviously I feel like everyone's just put it off before it made its debut. So I will be pleasantly happy when someone finds a good use for it. I know a lot of us, when we made the lists, we were looking at Wolf Warrow mainly. I did actually look at the other one, though. I did actually look at Lorik because
yes.
I really think him as a Biggs partner. Like, very much
We
the
mentioned this as
defensive
well.
pair, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Robin thinks the other way, where he thinks that thanks to the gunship and as such, you might find that there's less of Biggs.
There might be less of Biggs, actually. He's a good Biggs replacement. Because
that and selflessness as well.
Yeah,
main
because
problem is-
selflessness plus the ability to essentially spend your reinforce to help a teammate, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. And if you do him, he has the reinforce to help himself. So he's very much multi-purpose. He's actually in some ways better than Biggs in some ways because of the versatility. Whereas Biggs is literally there to go, shoot me.
Biggs' whole intent is to die.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of Biggs.
basically.
However, this is the only issue I have. It's his point cost. It is not an outright,
And
I
that's
take
where
Biggs out and I put Lorik in.
And that's where I come to the fact that I find him a little underwhelming. He is 28 points for a ship that you don't get your target lock on, which what I call the standard 2, you focus and your target lock. Most ships have these two.
It's not stopped Imperials.
It's not stopped Imperials, admittedly. But,
And also, to be fair, when you've got reinforced...
do you really
want to be target locking?
No, I suppose not.
You take a buddy who does that for you.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like
Dutch.
It's the standard pair off kind of thing. Like you when you see a focus, you normally see the target lock as well.
Yeah, normally.
It's the first kind of it's one of the very few rebel ships that doesn't have a target lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few.
But
I think it's actually the only one.
No, the attack shuttle.
The attack shuttle as well. Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again one of those things that it might be very underwhelming because of that. Because it's not got the. We've always said in X-Wing that every kind of ship has to have its kind of, although it works well in pairs,
Its place.
it needs its standalone place as well.
Yeah.
And other than Wolf Warrow being, the trouble is it's just too many points for maybe what you're getting. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I want to see more of it first.
Yeah, I think-
before I make a good calculation.
I agree.
On it.
I agree. I think you can't make a judgment until we actually see how
No.
it performs. Same with
Just
the
from the
Scurrg.
first analogy of it. So, as I said, going back to the original point I was making, underwhelming rebel ship, maybe overwhelming Imperial ship. Just from the original initial outset, before we set anything in stone, before we look at anything that it can do, before we look at
Well,
before we look at a meta or anything like that.
I kind of raised the fact that Imperials were gonna get a turret ship at some
definitely,
point.
yeah.
And that was always going to be, it was a question of when. It was always a case of not
How
if,
do we do
if
it?
they get tilty, it's like when will they get tilty?
Yeah,
tilty?
no,
So
definitely.
there was never stopping that.
No.
I don't think tilty itself makes it overpowered. I mean, it's boring. We all admit that. But synced turret, I think, gives it and other ships legitimate
Yes,
options.
definitely.
And yes, Hedge, the poor B-wing, I know.
The poor B-wing.
I know.
The poor B-wing.
Hopefully it will find its place. I still say a super laser B-wing would be fun.
If we can have a single upgrade that basically goes for B-wing and maybe another ship only.
I think it should be that and unique.
Yeah.
It should be like, you're going to have one of these.
Yeah.
Like Bomblet Generator.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to say, we
so
were talking very quickly while I'm seeing the Scurrg in front of me. We made a comment while we were doing the unboxing about the Pilot Skill 1 generic at 24 points, and we came on to an idea. There is a lot of 1 point bounty hunters that you could put alongside it. So, like, for example, Greedo and Zuckuss.
You could easily make it the 1 point, let's go 1 kill bot. The earliest edition of what I call a kill bot is the shuttle, the Darth Vader shuttle, because it literally goes, I'm just gonna give you lots of damage, but in the end I know I'm gonna die. It is basically a kill bot. So you can very easily make the Scurrg spend little points as possible and make it a kill bot. But that's also, again, why I find it so much of an interesting ship, because of its versatility, because of the different ways you can. It really made me happy with the game again, because it's brought a lot of ideas back to my brain.
Yeah. As you see, the players are starting to set up.
They are starting to set up.
We have Max on the right and Robin on the left, which I wish I'd told them to set up the other way, because that's how I had actually set up the overlay. It's typical kind of me not thinking ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on switching the overlays.
Oh dear.
In fact, I'm going to go out and tell...
No, don't be mean.
Rotate the board and then stick the other side.
It's not going to take longer than to set the cards out again. It's going to take me longer to put the overlay in it.
Or you can leave it the way it is and be really weird and have them cross over.
No.
That's going to get very alarming.
Very alarming. Be quick though.
Oh, Ellie's making a decision.
But yes, going back to the initial comment about the Nim being the most balanced, I think he's very fair cost for what he can do. I think he has a lot for what he can do. He very versatile, very cool. The dial seems very fair and very just. It doesn't favour him, but it also favours him very well for what he can do.
Yeah.
All the upgrades obviously complement the ship itself. And it's just, again, it's a very interesting ship in regards to what you can do with it, how much you can put with it, how much you can make with it as well. And that's why I really like the Scurrg H-6. Plus the fact that you can have a rebel version as well. It's pristinely cool in that regard.
I was also going to put this to you as well, because I know you have a love for the.
They have any issues?
No.
Good.
They respect it was going to take longer for me to set the overlay up than it would be.
Yeah.
It would be for them. It'd be quicker for them to move than it would be for me to reset the overlay up again.
What I was going to say though is we were talking about having Bond and Scumside, and I know obviously Chris with his love. You used to have quite a fond love of Amon, didn't you? Really?
I still do.
I know you love Kath more.
I still do. I feel like with Cad Bane now Emons could make a comeback. it was actually one of the lists that I was looking forward to seeing. In fact, it's actually on at the moment, isn't it?
It is the list that we're.
It's one of the
carrying
lists that we're going to win. So I'm very interested.
It's going to win, is it?
I don't know. I don't know if I can make that statement.
It's one of the lists that's
I
going
really
to
should
win.
make that statement.
No, you're factually correct. It is one of the lists that's going to win because it's either this one or the other one.
I mean,
So it is one of the two.
It did win one of the, when I say winning, in terms of the polls, is what I was meant to say. It was one of the two lists that won, which I'm really happy about because it was actually one of the two lists I did want to see.
Yeah.
Because when someone put it up there, I was like, wish I thought of that myself.
That's what happens on several unboxing streams, especially with me when I've gone, I didn't see that being a thing.
I thought too much about my own queen. Rather than going, actually, that's a cool thing you could play with, So I really like Max Bull's build.
Well, speaking of the builds, let's go through them right now. So we have the Scurrg H-6